Greetings, fellow Warframe enthusiasts. Flying Scorpion here. And last time we took an in-depth look at the Deimos Jugulus. Since then, it's been brought to my attention that this enemy has a special under-the-hood damage resistance formula that isn't available on the Codex, but it is shown on the Warframe Wiki. So today we're going to just talk specifically about this damage. As usual, there's going to be timestamps in the description, and you can just click on different segments of the video to get to the point that you want to look at. So that covers the introduction. Let's go to the wiki page and look at Orokin's formula. So here's the wiki page, here's the formula, and there's another one down here for damage over time. So how did I find out about this? It was brought to my attention by the Way of Wisdom on the forums, and I asked who dug up or reverse engineered that formula and posted it into the wiki, and that would be another user, Orokin. So how does Orokin's formula work? Well, it takes your damage output, your DPS, your average DPS, and it allocates it to a specific one of these other formulas. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different formulas, and which one is used for your DPS depends on how much DPS you have. So we've got this really helpful graph down here. If you open that, it looks like this. And it might look like it's a curve, but it's not actually a curve. It's a series of segments, or line segments, I guess I would say. Each one of these segments represents one of the formulas bundled up together here. So the first segment, which goes all the way up to 1,000, and then you got the first corner, represents the formula at the top, which is just 1 times X, which is your damage per second. So for example, if you did 500 damage per second, you're actually going to do 500 damage per second. There is no difference in this formula for the first 1,000 DPS. After the first 1,000 DPS, then you hit the next checkpoint, which goes between 1,000 and 2,500. So you can see here at 1,000, and then right here at 2,500, we meet the next corner. And you can see that the slant is slanting down a little bit. Looking at it from a kind of a macro view, you can see that this has no impact on the low end, and it has a big impact on the high end. And what that does is just sort of like, as you can see here, it sort of squashes down the damage profile. So instead of the damage profile shooting straight up through like this, like that, it flattens it substantially. And this right here is where the magic really happens, is in this category between 1,000 and 20,000 DPS. That's where the big changes are here. Okay, so now we've sort of explained the wiki page. Let's go to the in-game builds and test results. So actually, I'm not going to put any in-game builds. I'm just going to go to test results here, just for the sake of brevity. So I wanted to test this out, and I went into the simulacrum, and I did test it out. You can test it out yourself as well, but essentially what I did was I used a Rhino with Seeking Shurikens, and then I did my damage without roaring. And then I was going to roar, but before I did, I calculated how much damage I should have gotten after roaring, and it should have been 2,340, but it was actually 2,186, so it was slightly less than what I expected. Only by 7%. After I stripped the armor with Seeking Shuriken, the difference was much more noticeable. Instead of doing 19,511 damage, I did 13,217, so it was a difference of 32%. So, what do we got here? The test results. So your opinions of this. So opinions of this formula can vary wildly. Some people might think it's like sneaky of Digital Extremes to put a formula like this in the game without telling the players about it. But other people might say that the developers don't really have an obligation to present all of the details of the under-the-hood game mechanics to the players. I don't know. I'm not going to give an opinion specifically on that. Let's focus more on buffs or nerfs. So some people are going to look at this like it's a buff to the enemy, it's buffing the enemy's damage resistance. Some people might look at it like it's a nerf to the players, and it's a nerf to their damage output. Again, that's just a matter of perspective. They're both the same thing, essentially. It just depends on how you look at it and the angle that you look at it from. In my opinion, opinion alert, in my opinion, this is a brilliant formula. This is genius, and I think it's great. What this does is it squashes down the damage profile and it closes the gap. Let me go to my webcam here for a second. I'm just going to go to my webcam here. It closes the gap between the new player and the super high-end veteran player. So if you're doing like 40,000 damage per second, a newer player is going to struggle to get any kills in the match, and that sucks, right? But when you have 4 people in a squad and you need to get kills to trigger special effects, and that's becoming a more and more common thing in Warframe, where you got arcanes or weapons or special abilities that trigger off of enemy deaths. If you can't do that because there's somebody else in the team running a meta build and they're just swirling around like a tornado and everything's just vaporizing, it's not fun. Like, that's not fun. So having enemies with a damage resistance profile like this can help slow those players down that do absurd amounts of damage and give you a chance to hit those enemies. This is kind of good. Another thing that this formula does is that it incentivizes having multiple players in the team. So if you look at it, if you have 4 different players, and instead of 1 player with 40,000 DPS, you've got 4 players each with 10,000 DPS, they're actually going to do, I think, more than twice the DPS of the 1 player with 40,000 DPS, if that makes any sense. So 3 players, each with 10,000 DPS, combined will do more damage than 1 player with 40,000 DPS, if I can read this graph properly. So I think that's actually really good. In the last video I said it's kind of nice having enemies in the game once in a while where you really have to work together as a team to take that enemy down. Warframe is a multiplayer game, and the good thing about this is that it's not such a punishing system where you can't solo it. You can if you want to. I've already demonstrated that in my 200 subscriber special. Okay, so what else do we have to say here? Nox. Okay, so supposedly this system has been in the game for a while, actually. There's other enemies that have this special damage resistance, so it's not just exclusive to the Jugulus. The Nox has one as well, and if you take a look at it, this is really interesting. You can see that they used a similar system, but they only factored in between 500 and 1,000 DPS. There's not as many brackets, and the brackets are way more on the low end. And the Nox was added to the game in 2017. So what this says to me is it's kind of evidence of the amount of power creep that's happened in the game since 2017. So you go from having a damage resistance formula that caps that the upper level is 1,000 to a damage resistance formula where the upper level is 20,000. So a lot has changed in Warframe over the past few years. There's been a lot more power given to the players, and I think that's one of the reasons why you need of damage resistance applied to some enemies like this. Thank you for these comments. So again, everybody, I read every single one of your comments. I will get to that comment after I'm finished working on this video. But I want to say very special thanks to Galuf. This was a really nice comment. You definitely should keep going, as you have a very nice style. It was enjoyable. It was an enjoyable experience. To be honest, I find you extremely talented. Thank you so much. That's a really nice thing to say, and it helps motivate me to make more videos like this in the future. I got another couple nice comments on Reddit, of all places, which is nice. Love your videos, man. Found you on YouTube recently. You will definitely watch this. Keep up the good work. Really nice, and that was Shredum1990, and Sake Valstar said, really high quality video, best of luck to you blowing up in the Warframe community, would definitely love to see it. Thank you guys and gals, or gals, so much for the comments. I really appreciate it. And what else do we have to say? That's it. So there we go, everybody. That is the the secret, the Deimos Jugulus dirty little secret Orokin's formula. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. And other than that, thank you for watching.